Hello. So, about 15 years ago, I started getting very interested in design and art, and I needed a place to keep all of my supplies, my pens and my pencils primarily, but also my erasers. And so I actually made this, and it's a roll-up pen holder. And I actually went out and found this heavy sort of canvas material and sewed it together. I'll open it here. Just unwraps. You can see here all the tools I need are all ready to go. I'd like to go over what each of these are and what I use them for. Talk a little bit about maybe a little bit of history behind some of these. So you can see the holder that I made has different sized sections that allow me to hold different sized pens, different sized tools. I actually used to hold some X-Acto knives in here, but they actually started to cut the fabric up because the caps would fall off, so I had to stop doing that. So you can see here over on the far right, I have just some regular ballpoint pens. This is a Bic, round stick, medium. It's known as a biro in the UK. And it's called a ballpoint here in the US, mainly because it's just got a little ball tip in there. Picks up the ink from a cartridge, an unreplaceable cartridge inside the tube. So this is standard type of pen. This is also a ballpoint, but it's much nicer. It's from Tokyo, or actually I believe it's made in Thailand, but the company that I bought it from is in Tokyo. And it's got a much finer point on it. And the ink is much darker than what you have in these disposable Bic pens. I'll put these back. Next over, this is a Sharpie, and this is an extra fine point permanent marker. Sharpie, very well known. They're all felt tip. So the tip of this pen, not quite as fine as a ballpoint, and it's made of felt. And you can see here this AP symbol. This is an organization, and you'll see it on a lot of pens. When you see this symbol on a pen, it means that the pen is non-toxic. Here I have green Sharpie. The green was the most recent one I was using. I have a handful of different colors that I'll use, and sometimes I'll put different colors into that pouch. This is just a regular fine point. This is what I think most people are probably familiar with. This is also a felt tip. I'm going to skip this orange one for now. This next one is by Chartpak. It's a United States company. And you can see it has the same non-toxic seal. Actually, the design of that non-toxic seal varies from maker to maker, but they tend to all have it. This is a very thick marker, and I'm not going to open it because every time I grab it to open it, it leaves a mark. So I only open it when I need to. It's a very thick, very permanent marker. Next we have actually three of the same pen. And starting with this one, this is a Pen Sticks, and it's made by a company called Alvin. And they're from Austria. And this is a 0.3 millimeter, and that refers to the size of the tip of the pen. And this is black, and it's a very good, very high quality pen, great for design. The one directly to its left is a slightly bigger tip. This is a 0.5, but it's also a Pen Sticks, also from Alvin. It's got a slightly larger tip. I'll hold these up next to each other in a moment so you can see the comparison, because this last one, same pen again, but this is a 0.7 millimeter. So take the tops off. And you'll see largest is going to be on the left and the smallest on the right. And depending on what you need to be working on, you would use a different pen. Sometimes you'll use all three in the same piece. So I just want to make sure I put these back correctly. This was the 0.3, so we'll put that over there. This was the 0.5, it'll go in the middle, and then the 0.7. So this piece right here looks a little bit like a mechanical pencil, and it shares a lot of similarities, but it's actually called a lead holder. And this one is called a Technograph. It's made in Italy, and it's got this red upper part, a black button, this sort of textured grip, and then a smooth piece near the top where the clasp is. And the way to use it is, just like a mechanical pencil, you'll push this button, but it doesn't automatically advance the lead. What it does is when you push that button, it actually opens up this clasp. It's spring-loaded, and what you can do is then adjust the lead exactly the way you want it. And so in this case, I've got some blue drafting lead in there, and this allows you to use much thicker lead than you'd normally have in a mechanical pencil, and it allows this piece to be far more durable. There's very few mechanics inside this device other than the spring-loaded action. And then all the leads themselves, and I only use blue drafting lead, or turquoise as it's called here, I store right next to it, so I always have a fresh supply. And you can just slide this open, and you can actually just bend this down and retrieve the lead that you want. And they sell leads in all different colors. You can get them in turquoise, of course, or red. Of course, you could get them in black as well. This pocket wasn't made for this, so it's always a tight fit. Oh, I think I got it. There we go. Directly to the left here, I have two erasers. The first one is a magic eraser that's seen better days. And the second one is a Mars Plastic. Both are made by the same company. And they have different uses. The Mars Plastic is a harder, more durable eraser. It comes in this cardboard sleeve. And the magic eraser is far more flexible and has generally been my go-to, though I sometimes do prefer the Mars Plastic. So now, this orange pen is my most recent purchase. It says here on the tip 2.4 millimeters. That's the size of the tip of the pen. And if you remember, these are only 0.3, 0.5, and 0.7. So as you can imagine, 2.4 is quite large. And the reason for that is it is a Pilot parallel pen, and it actually has a flat tip. You can see here, depending on the angle. And it uses cartridges that are replaceable, and it eats up ink very quickly. You can see the red ink I've been using is almost up. And this cap is rather interesting. It's got sort of wave piece to it, and it's a screw-on cap. Unfortunately, the back of the pen is too narrow, and the cap doesn't sit on the back as most pens do. So you actually, when you use the pen, you have to put the cap to the side when you use it and hope you don't lose the very important cap. Now when you have one of these, you also need a few tools. This comes with the pen. It allows you to actually clean the tip. So if something were to get in the tip, you can actually slide this piece. The tip is actually two very thin pieces of metal, and this very skinny piece of plastic can fit between them and clean the tip. Also important in this final pocket are replacement inks. So you can see here is another red or orange. Here's a bluish color. This appears to be black or purple. It's almost too many to count. This one appears to be black. There's a handful of blacks, I think. These are all probably black. This one's a rather nice, this is a pinkish red. Hard to tell. This is, I think, a green. A very bright green. That'll be very interesting to use. And these small cartridges, they're relatively affordable. Certainly not as expensive as some inks can be. Certainly not as expensive as something like printer ink. So it's not too much of a hassle to keep all of these at the ready. However, it's my force of habit that I don't replace them until I use them up. So for example, the red that's in here I will not take out of the pen until I'm finished with it. And then I'll have, look at these, look at that yellow on the right. But I'm eager to start using these. I'll just have to wait. One other piece that comes with the pen is this, and it looks a lot like the ink, and it fits in where the ink does, but what it actually is a converter, and you can use this with ink to pick up ink from a bottle and put it into the pen. And this is metal and some sort of plastic. But what it's mostly used for is for cleaning the pen. So I'll unscrew this here and unscrew this here. So these two pieces that I just unscrewed, the gray rear and the orange top, are just plastic. They don't have any operation to it. They help you hold the pen or to protect the cap. So this, you can see this is ink, almost empty, and if I shake it, you can hear there's a small ball bearing, and you can actually see it go back and forth when I move it. That keeps the ink flowing. And then this is the actual pen piece down here, and you can see the ink permeates all these levels before going out the tip. This here takes the place of the ink cartridge, but what you do is you fill it with water, and you do that by putting it in to the pen tip, and then you dip the pen tip into water, and this you squeeze, and you'll see here it actually lets you squeeze and open it. And if you've ever put a straw into water while covering the tip and lifting out and then letting go, you'll know the effect that's happening here. You're basically sucking water up into it and squeezing it out, and you'll do that multiple times until the tip is clean. And once the tip is clean, you'll be able to put in a new ink cartridge, and it'll probably take a little bit of effort to get the ink flowing and get the old ink out of there, but once you do that, you're off to the races. This particular pen type, the Pilot Parallel pen, actually allows you to take two pens, and you can actually mix the colors by having their tips sort of touch, and you can actually have the colors bleed into each other, so you can create a sort of gradient effect on the paper. So I'm going to give you a example of how some of these pens look and work. The Parallel pen, the pen sticks. This is going to be the 0.3 millimeter. The Technograph. Oh, and I don't believe I talked about this one. This is a Pigma Graphic One. The company that makes this is most well known for their Micron line of pens. This one's very similar. I actually don't have any Microns at the moment, but this one's seen its fair use. And we'll do this one from Thailand. So, starting with the Technograph, I'm not sure you'll be able to even see this. It makes very light marks that are designed not to be picked up. Let's see, I'll move the pens for a moment. So the Technograph is perfect for sketching out things that you don't want to be in the final piece. So you can do a lot of construction lines, and then later when you're going over them in ink and then you scan them or you reproduce them in some way, it's very easy to not include the blue construction lines. Far easier than if you're using a regular pencil, whether it's a number 2 or an HB style pencil. So here you can see we can start off with an oval shape and then do some construction lines for where the eyes would go. Build in a nose, do some construction lines to put in the mouth, and there's eventually going to be a chin. Follow it around to the ear. And then you're well on your way to drawing a head. I'm not sure you can even see that. This is very nice paper. This is Borden and Riley number 234. This paper is perfect for heavy ink because it doesn't bleed. It's almost like poster board. And it's got almost no texture to it. So if I use the Alvin pen sticks 0.3 millimeter, you'll see creates nice, rich black lines. They're very sharp. There's almost no variance in the width of the stroke relative to the amount of pressure you apply. Which is perfect for technical drawings or any type of graphic design. Of course, if you're looking to have variance in your stroke, this is not the pen for you. It's very clean, very sharp, and one would almost say lifeless. It definitely only applies to certain styles, like drawing anatomically incorrect faces. It's a terrible picture. The same can be said for this Pigma. It's a wonderful pen. It's got a slightly thicker line to it, and you can actually hear it makes a squeaky noise because it's a felt tip pen. But it's a wonderful pen. It's significantly better than any Sharpie you would use. And then this ballpoint from, I keep forgetting, Thailand. Is very nice. Missed a spot. It's got a very fine point, so occasionally if you go too quickly for it, the ink will not keep up. And then finally, the new toy, the Pilot Parallel Pen. I hope some ink remains. So, let me see if I can very quietly. Okay. So, depending on what direction you draw in, you will get a completely different width of line. And what you can end up doing is very fine calligraphy. And if I knew how to do very fine calligraphy, then that's what I would be demonstrating for you right now. Unfortunately, I don't. You can see my handwriting isn't the best. can also use flat tip pens to do Gothic calligraphy, which, if I couldn't do very good handwriting using traditional script, you can imagine what an absolute disaster this is going to be. But I'm happy to try it. What's also particularly hard is I write with my left hand, and pens, especially pens like this, are not very well suited to being pushed. They prefer to be pulled, which is the best way the ink gets fed out. Fortunately, it's very difficult to pull a pen, or rather to push a pen. To pull a pen as a lefty is not easy. So, clearly I have no idea what I'm doing, especially with spacing and line thickness, but you perhaps get the idea of what this pen is capable of. They also make this pen several other thicknesses. I think 3.4 or 3.2. I think there's a 4 or 5 millimeter variant, and the largest that they make is the police are here. They found me. The largest that they make is 6 millimeters, which is a very, very large tip pen. It's mostly for large headline styles. This would be more appropriate for writing someone's name on an envelope. It's frustrating because I have an idea of what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just not very capable of doing it. That's terrible. Not getting any better. Sometimes fun just to draw decorative elements and enjoy the varying thicknesses that can come of it. You can also do these little diamond shapes very easily. So, more of a toy than anything else, at least for me. It's always a challenge when I take them all out to remember exactly where they go. And back up the camera a bit. What I like about this though is when I'm ever done drawing or writing, I can just roll it back up. Tuck this under here. It's good to go. You can hold it upside down. Everything's pretty secure. You can throw this in a bag if you need to. May get a few questions if you ever have your bag searched at security, but you just need to open it and show them you're not that crazy. Just a little bit. So yeah, thanks for watching.